This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
In the colonies of rodents, in the migrations of birds which took place at that time on a truly American scale along the Ussuri, and especially in a migration of fallow deer, which I witnessed on the Amur, and during which scores of thousands of these intelligent animals came together from an immense territory, flying before the coming deep snow, in order to cross the Amur where it is narrowest. In all these scenes of animal life which passed before my eyes, I saw mutual aid and mutual support carried on to an extent which made me suspect it a feature of the greatest importance for the maintenance of life, the preservation of each species, and its further evolution. And finally, I saw among the semi-wild cattle and horses in Transbaikalia, among the wild ruminants everywhere, the squirrels and so on, that when animals have to struggle against scarcity of food in consequence of one of the above-mentioned causes, the whole of that portion of the species which is affected by the calamity comes out of the ordeal so much impoverished in vigor and health that no progressive evolution of the species can be based upon such periods of keen competition. Consequently, when my attention was drawn, later on, to the relations between Darwinism and sociology, I could agree with none of the works and pamphlets that had been written upon this important subject. They all endeavored to prove that man, owing to his higher intelligence and knowledge, may mitigate the harshness of the struggle for life between men, but they all recognized at the same time that the struggle for the means of existence, of every animal against all its congeners, and of every man against all other men, was a law of nature. This view, however, I could not accept, because I was persuaded that to admit a pitiless inner war for life within each species, and to see in that war a condition of progress, was to admit something which not only had not yet been proved, but also lacked confirmation from direct observation. On the contrary, a lecture on the law of mutual aid, which was delivered at a Russian Congress of Naturalists in January 1880 by the well-known zoologist Professor Kessler, the then dean of the St. Petersburg University, struck me as throwing a new light on the whole subject. Kessler's idea was that besides the law of mutual struggle, there is in nature the law of mutual aid, which, for the success of the struggle of life, and especially for the progressive evolution of the species, is far more important than the law of mutual contest. This suggestion, which was, in reality, nothing but a further development of the ideas expressed by Darwin himself in The Descent of Man, seemed to me so correct and of so great an importance that since I became acquainted with it in 1883, I began to collect materials for further developing the idea, which Kessler had only cursorily sketched in his lecture, but had not lived to develop. He died in 1881. In one point only could I not entirely endorse Kessler's views. Kessler alluded to parental feeling and care for progeny. See below Chapter 1, as to the source of mutual inclinations in animals. However, to determine how far these two feelings have really been at work in the evolution of sociable instincts, and how far other instincts have been at work in the same direction, seems to me a quite distinct and a very wide question, which we hardly can discuss yet. It will be only after we have well established the facts of mutual aid in different classes of animals, and their importance for evolution, that we shall be able to study what belongs in the evolution of sociable feelings to parental feelings, and what to sociability proper, the latter having evidently its origin at the earliest stages of the evolution of the animal world, perhaps even at the colony stages. I consequently directed my chief attention to establishing, first of all, the importance of the mutual aid factor of evolution, leaving to ulterior research the task of discovering the origin of the mutual aid instinct in nature. The importance of the mutual aid factor, if its generality could only be demonstrated, did not escape the naturalist genius so manifest in Goethe. When Eckermann told once to Goethe, it was in 1827, The 2 little wren fledglings which had run away from him were found by him next day in the nest of robin redbreasts, Rothkildchen, which fed the little ones, together with their own youngsters. Goethe grew quite excited.